We celebrate our nation's birth tomorrow, and it's against the backdrop of a lot of entitled bedwetters that have been afforded so much in this country, have been able to access unbelievable opportunities, and yet denigrate the country. Like the way Natasha Cloud does. She's a professional athlete. She plays basketball in the WNBA. And she didn't agree with the Supreme Court's decisions last week. So she wrote, "Our country is trash in so many ways, and instead of using our resources to make it better, we continue to oppress marginalized groups that we have targeted since the beginning of times. Black and brown communities and LGBTQ plus. Man, we are too powerful to still be attacking issues separately." Yeah. The same country that rescued her colleague Brittany Griner from a Russian prison, right? And just even separating, just setting aside her ignorance of the substance of those Supreme Court decisions, and just generally, our country is trash in so many ways. Our country, individual people. So, unfortunately, we have to spend a lot of time on this show dealing with those individual people who are a bit trashy and a bit ill-informed because, unfortunately, they have an outsized impact on our culture. So it's nice to go the other direction from time to time and be able to talk to people who serve as an example of what is possible and as an inspiration for what people can overcome, like real adversity, not manufactured adversity like somebody said a crossword, like real adversity after you're wounded and almost killed in service to our country, service to all of us, Natasha Cloud and you and me as well. So we're pleased to be joined by Senior Master Sergeant, retired, Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr., that is. You've seen Senior Master Sergeant Del Toro on Fox News and other places. He served in the U.S. Air Force in Afghanistan as a special warfare operator. He was injured in action in '05. He has been instrumental in the creation of the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. Del Toro is the first 100% disabled airman to re-enlist in the Air Force. He is the recipient of the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Pat Tillman Award for service. And he's got a new book, A Patriot's Promise, Protecting My Brothers, Fighting for My Life, and Keeping My Word. Senior Master Sergeant Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr., thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me. Thank you also, Amy. You could just call me DT to keep repeating that long.
Yeah, well, you earned it, so I'll call you whatever you want to call you. Whatever you want to call me. Okay, DT. All right, so refresh people's recollection of what happened to you and what you went through and why you went through it to go back to enlisting again. I mean, doing something that's unthinkable almost.
Yeah. So on December 4th, I was out on a mission with the scout team. Because my job is, I call them the airstrikes, so they put us wherever a unit they think is going to be in most danger. So I was out with those guys because we had a high-value target. We had to capture and kill and supply route the Taliban was using. So we're coming back to pick up our other half of our team, and when we cross the creek, no more than 200 meters after crossing it, I feel an intense heat blast on the left side, and I realized I got hit. So I got out of the truck, but when I got out of the truck, I was on fire from head to toe. I collapsed, thinking this is it for me. Thinking I broke my promise to my family that I always come back. Broke my promise to my son. I'll never let him grow up without his dad like I did. But most importantly, I'm going to break my promise to my dad that I made to him before he passed, that I always take care of my family. But one of my teammates helped me up, and we both jumped into the creek to extinguish the flames. And then as soon as I got hit, the second half of my team was hitting the crossfire. So now they're calling back for help So even though I got hit, I had to figure out how to call in airstrikes because my radios were destroyed, and so were my backups. But luckily, one of my other teammates had a radio called an embedder, and I told him, repeat everything I say to get some help in here. And by the time the last transmission went out, that's when I started getting scared because the adrenaline had gone down. I was having a hard time breathing. And my teammate helped me find my spark. And I tell everyone we all have a spark, which is kind of ironic that a burn guy now is telling people we have a spark inside of us. And it kept me up, him finding my spark, which was my son, had me, repeat, I got to find my son till the medevac came. I remember they wanted to carry me to the helicopter. It's like, no, I walked into this battle. I'm going to walk out.
Wow.
And I get in the helicopter. I remember coming in and out of consciousness on the helicopter, landing at our forward operating base, going to our field hospital. And the doctor cutting off my watch and telling me it'd be okay. That was, like I said, December 4th, 05. I wake up March of 06. And, I was in a coma for 4 months. When I woke up, they started asking me, do you know where you're at? Obviously, I was thinking I was in Germany. They're like, no, San Antonio. Do you know the date? It's like December. It's like, no, it's March. So it was crazy them trying to tell me that, we gave you a 15% chance to live. 80% of your body has third-degree burns. You almost died 3 times, but now, you're awake. You still got a long recovery. You're going to be in here for another year and a half. You may not walk again. You'll be on a respirator for the rest of your life. And your military career is pretty much over. But I wasn't going to accept that. I never accepted what people said my life was going to be. I was going to choose how my life's going to be. And 2 months after they told me that, I left that hospital walking and breathing on my own. And people ask me, why do you want to continue to, what do you want to do, DT? It's like, I just want to continue to serve. It's like, why? I was like, you're becoming good at this public speaking. You can make a lot of money. And it's true. Some public speakers can make up to 6-figure for a 45 to an hour speech. But I used to tell them, like, there's thousands of people out there, hundreds of thousands that make good money and hate their job. So why am I going to give up a job that I love? I love serving my country. I love being in the military. I love being in the Air Force. I love being an operator. So why am I going to give that up for a couple bucks? And it took about 5 years to show that I still had value. Yes, I can't be out down range as an operator, because of my injuries. I understand that, but if they told me if you will go down range, I was like, I'll go in a heartbeat. But I know I could teach. I could get the next generation of special operation operators going. And on February 2010, that's when I became the first 100% disabled airman to enlist.
And what has what is your role, the teaching role that you're describing? What has that meant to you? How has that progressed over the last decade plus?
I really enjoyed it. Some people were afraid. They're like, is this the first face we want to show these young men when they're training for this career field? And I used to tell them, you know what? If they can see me, see what happened to me, and realize the dangers that our job is, and they still want to do the job, then that's someone I want doing my career field. That's someone I want fighting by my side. And it was great. I got to be with my guys again. Some of the instructors were obviously teammates of mine. But then seeing these young cats, being on the other side, at one point you were a student and now being the instructor, it was unique. And yeah, I didn't think I was like the mean instructor. If I yelled at them or I got on them, there's a reason. I always explained that to them. I was like, hey, man, this is why I'm on you. Because you can see when they're starting to give up. And I didn't want my guys to give up, so I will try and motivate them and use whatever they can to overcome their moment of weakness or doubt, or them doubting themselves. But it was great. I did it for 5 years. I became a world-class athlete, world-class athlete. I trained here at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and after the Paralympics, I went to the Air Force Academy and teach cadets how to skydive
Wow.
until I retired August of 2019.
Now, a lot of people may not know, but in your new book, A Patriot's Promise, you have an Illinois connection, and you actually, when you were in high school, got a scholarship to University of Illinois.
I did. I'm from South suburbs of Chicago. Grew up in the Joliet, New Lenox area, and when I mentioned earlier how I wasn't going to let someone tell me what my life was going to be. When I was a senior in high school and I wanted to go to college, I wanted to go to the University of Illinois. And I remember my counselor saying, maybe we should go to a junior college. And nothing's wrong with a junior college, but I wanted to go to the University of Illinois. And, from just to prove them wrong, I applied and then I get a full academic scholarship. And I went back to my counselor's desk and slammed the letter of acceptance and the scholarship and pretty told him to F off. But I probably should have rethink that because my counselor, I went to Providence Catholic. It was a priest. And so I got a month's worth of attention, but it was so worth it, though.
I went to Bennett Academy, so we were a rival of yours back in the day. I'm a couple of years older than you, but just thinking about military. I mean, since you've committed your life to the service, a lot of reporting recently about the recruitment problems, and there was a story even last week about veterans discouraging their children from serving in the military. How do you react to what's going on? What do you think the challenge is with recruitment right now?
Yeah, I think what has happened is we have so many naysayers out there that are the loud voices of how they say our country's like crap and it's no good, and it's like you said earlier, a WNBA person that's trashing the country.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people have never left the country, have never gone other places and see the reality how great this country is. Bethany Griner, she used to say the Star Spangled Banner, our national anthem, should not be sung at events. And I guarantee she has a different insight on that now, being imprisoned in Russia. So a lot of these people don't know. They don't understand. My family's from Mexico, and even going to Mexico, you can get arrested for anything, anytime, anywhere, and extorted.
Yep.
So people just don't understand, and so I think that's what happens with a lot of the recruitment. They're seeing all that. There's 24/7 news, or obviously they report when people say stuff like that because it gets clicks, gets headlines, and it discourages them. So, my best thing I could say is don't listen to the naysayers. Do your own research. Yes, our country has flaws. Every country has flaws. I don't know of any perfect country out there in the world, but our country is probably the closest to the least flaws out there, and I'll fight for her to the day. And be proud of her.
A lot of talk about adversity. Some of it is phony and some of it's real. Yours is real, and it's not just with respect to what happened to you serving our country. I mean, you mentioned your father passing away when you were not even a teenager. Your mother was killed by a drunk driver a short time after. You've got 3 siblings, right?
Yes,
so when you've gone through all that you've gone through, both as a young man with your family and then as a young man in service to our country, I mean, there had to be moments, I suspect, I don't know, there had to be moments where you do the why me and this isn't fair. And I wonder if and when those moments occurred, how did you get through them to the other side? Because I think that's probably really instructive for people that are facing challenges.
For me, of course, I had those moments. Anytime I've in the book, I talk about how I felt I was cursed because anytime I had a high, I get knocked right back down. Something tragic will happen from my dad to my mom, then to my cousin who was like a brother to me, to my grandma. It just all these things kept happening, but I couldn't get through it on my own. Luckily, I had friends. When my dad passed, I really engulfed myself in sports. I stopped playing soccer because that was the sport my dad loves watching me play. So I focused a lot in football and baseball. And I had my teammates there. And then when I joined the military, I had my military family be there by my side anytime I came back from losing my cousin or losing my grandma, and them being there for me. And sometimes you don't see the big picture. You don't understand why this is happening to you. Why are all these obstacles being thrown in front of you? And sometimes I think the big man had a plan for me and wanted to prepare me for my biggest obstacle, which was going to happen on December 4th, and help me so I can get over it, overcome it, and then be able to help people overcome their dark times, because we all have them. We all have those times where we think we can't do it, but we do have that spark, and sometimes we find it on our own, and sometimes you got to hear the story of someone that went through it and how they overcame it and how they didn't give up to help them overcome their dark times. And that's what the purpose of why I wanted to write this, but also to honor my dad, because in reality, it's just a 12-year-old kid just trying to make his dad proud.
He is Senior Master Sergeant Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr., the new book, A Patriot's Promise, Protecting My Brothers, Fighting for My Life, and Keeping My Word. By the way, DT had a smart home built for him in Colorado by Tunnel to Towers, so we want to thank our listeners again who participated in our recent golf outing where Tunnel to Towers was the beneficiary. Great organization. And DT, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the book. And everybody pick it up. Make it your July 4th duty. A Patriot's Promise is the book. Israel D.T. Del Toro, Jr. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, and God bless. We appreciate you and all that you've done. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer.